distracted. I wanted to figure out where my notes were. Sorry. Okay. So that might just be an indication of how this goes around here. Is that better? Okay. Hi, my name is Bethany, and this is the Capital K Knitting Podcast. This is a special episode where I'm going to be going through all the things that I knit in 2023. I'm so excited to go through those with you. I have not as many projects as last year, which is a funny thing to talk about because I intentionally this year, I was trying not to be as rushed, trying not to be as frustrated with how long things were on my needles and trying to just be okay with working slower. And then when I counted up my projects, I knew that it was much less than last year. And so I just had to, remind myself, actually, that was kind of the point this year, and that is okay. So I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done. Last year, at the beginning of 2023, I started with nothing on my needles. It was a weird moment in time where I had either finished everything on my needles or I had frogged the things that weren't bringing me joy. And so it was really cool to start the year out with that much intention, but it was also weird to not have anything to knit on for a few days while I sorted out what I wanted to do. So I finished 27 knit projects last year and 3 crochet projects last year. I learned some crochet stitches. It was a wild time. I'm so excited to share those things with you too. I also had a goal of knitting more things for myself this past year, and I think I did that. I think I knit more things for myself. I did end up with more pairs of socks for myself than I did last year, merely because I only gave a couple of pairs of socks away this year. I'm a serial gift knitter. It's just really hard for me to not give knits to the people I love when it's their birthday or Christmas. And so I have to be pretty staunch with myself about no, you started this pair of socks for yourself and you would really like these socks too, and that's okay. You can also give bought gifts to people that you love. It's just the way it is. So let me actually count up how many gifts I knit this year. Okay, I just reviewed and I actually have 29 knit projects and 17 of those were gifts. So I knit 12 things for myself this year, which one project a month, that's for me. That's not so bad actually for me. That's pretty good. So I knit a shawl, 5 hats, 3 pairs of mittens, 1 pullover sweater, 3 cardigans, 1 hood, 12 pairs of socks, 1 cowl, and then some just various, accessories, decorations that are kind of in a miscellaneous category. At the beginning of the year, it was super cold. I knew that my kids needed some things in their winter wardrobe, which I'm finding again this year. I have to knit a bunch of mittens. Whatever. I love doing it. They love wearing them. It's awesome. Several of them have been lost. So I'm realizing I should probably double up on pairs or something. I thought it would just be a hand-me-down situation, but it's not. So this is one of the scrappy hats that I made for my girls. I don't know where the other one is of this one. That's okay. I'm going to be making them some other hats this year. They can wear this one, and if I find the other one. There was a pom-pom on here, but my son just ripped it right off. So I have a little button in here that I pull the pom-pom loop, elastic loop through it with a crochet hook and then loop it around the button, and then I take it off when I wash them because this is all sock yarn, so I just put it through the wash. I will say it's a kind of weird fit. You can see that my decreases are just kind of insane. So it has this little box on the top. It's almost like a little bucket hat is what it is. honestly, I think it's cuter if I think of it as a bucket hat because I have a double folded brim here, and I did ribbing for the inside and the outside, but for some reason, I think because it's not long enough, it like flares out. I don't know. So I'm going to be doing, I think, some ribbed hats for them or some muscle bros with some ribbing in the middle so that it'll just stick closer to their ears. These fit over their heads just fine. I'll put a picture of them here. They're super cute in them, but I just don't think they're as functional as I wanted them to be. They're great to put through the wash, but I do want them to be a tad warmer for them. And yeah, so we're going to use this until we can give it away to a cousin or something when I get them some different hats this year. After that, I knit my son a pair of mittens. You may remember I was trying to get mittens done for all of my kids for Christmas last year, or in 2022. And I did not make that happen. My youngest daughter and my youngest son, it makes it sound like I have a billion children. I have 4 children. Boy, girl, girl, boy. So the 2 youngest, I didn't get their mittens done by the time Christmas rolled around. Oh, there's a squirrel going across the road. Hurry. Literally, squirrel. So silly. So I didn't get those finished. I had my daughters still on the needles when Christmas came around, and she knew they were for her, and so she knew she was going to get them. But my youngest he just did not bat an eye. It was so funny. He just walked into where I keep my yarn in this front porch, which they lovingly call my knitting room. And he said, this is the one I would like for my mittens, and picked out this beautiful yellow yarn by Knitting Nakabi. I believe I'll put the colorway name up here. I forget what it's called. It was one of her naturally, well, everything she does is naturally dyed on non-superwash yarn. I absolutely love it. It's so stinking soft. The merino base is so soft. If you want to get into non-superwash yarns and you're just like, I'm just afraid that it's going to be really rustic and I don't want it to be itchy. If you purchase Knitting Nakabi's merino base, I can almost guarantee you that there will be 0 itch factor. Like I hesitate to say guaranteed just because that's a crazy thing to say to the entire world, but it's so soft. No, so squishy and plump and soft. So good. Those were adorable. We've used them this year too, but one of them has left us. I don't know where. I really think I need to start putting the little eye cords on the mittens to make sure that they stay married. I think it's important for us at this point. And it would just stay in their coats and it would be a lot easier to manage. I did do that for my nephew's pair of mittens that I made this year. And I saw him wearing them and they were just like dangling out of the sleeves of his coat while we were looking for a Christmas tree with my parents. And it was so cute. So I'm totally sold on that. I think I will do that this year also. The next finished project I had was a sweater for my sister Sarah. She's so sweet. She's just a real champion of knitting. Like, there are knit-worthy people, right? Like, you know that they will take care of the things that you make for them. They'll ask you, like, what do I need to do to wash it? Or they are really thankful when you give it to them. They understand the time that it takes. My sister Sarah, though, is like just like always surprised and aghast that I would make her something, even though I keep making her things. And I think it's because of this reaction of like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. This must have taken like your whole life. And she's just fantastic. So it's probably selfish that I knit her more things than anyone else because her reaction is just so good. Hers and my children, those are the ones that are just the best for me, that they're just like, oh, thank you. Like, it's just so wonderful. So I knit her a ranunculus. That was the first ranunculus and only at this point that I've knit. I did learn a lot with this knit. Number one, something can look beautiful on a hanger. And then when you see it on someone's body, then you see, oh, I would have made these adjustments, blah, blah, blah. So I tried it on myself, but of course we are not identical people. And so when I see her with it on now, it is super cute, but there are some adjustments that I would be like, okay, I would not give it as much positive ease here. I'd lengthen it here. I would do all of these things. Great first garment gift though for someone, because it was made of this beautiful cotton from Cumulus. It was so good, and it really redeemed cotton knits for me. Some of you know I've made garments for my children out of dishcloth cotton before. I had no idea. I didn't know. And it killed my hands, and I was very prejudiced against cotton for a long time because of that. But I just really like the yoke pattern. I think that lace is really pretty. I still don't really understand how to modify it in a way that would make sense for me. I think I need to try it again. Edible Thoughts makes, I believe her first name is Stephanie. She has this wonderful video of all the ranunculi that she's made and every adjustment that she's made with it. And so I think maybe I need to rewatch her video of that and make some determinations for myself, because I really like more than one version of hers. The next knit I actually have with me because it wasn't a gift, it was for me. So I have half of it, I guess. So this was the Allay, I call it the Allay hood because it was part of the Allay cardigan. It's in a book I bought called Knitting for Radical Self-Care. I really like that book. It was wonderful for me to read. I haven't made any of the other patterns yet just because I don't have any yarn in that weight anymore, and I would really like to. So that might be a purchase that I'll be making this year to intentionally make some of the things in that book because I really like a lot of those patterns. As you can see, this is in the middle of being frogged. The reason is because I am making the Tromso hat with this yarn, and I'm tangled, and I'm making two of them. I finished one of them. This was actually my last knit of 2023, was the Tromso hat. Is this cute fold over thing on the top here. I keep describing it as like looking like a takeout container, but maybe that's inaccurate. Maybe that's not how Joji Locatelli wants it to be described. It's very cute. It's a 1x1 rip hat, as you can see, and then it's got this cute finishing on the top. And when my son Jack saw it, he goes, "Oh, Mom, could you make that for both of us and we could have like matching hats?" And if my kids ask if I want to match with them, yes, I will make us matching hats. So this is the first one, and he and I have just been wearing it. We both just have been wearing it, but I am going to make another one. I didn't knit it to the length in the pattern. I only knit it about 11 inches before I did the finish work up here. This is a Barocco yarn. I think it's a bulky yarn. I haven't worked with bulky yarn since making the hood, and so my goodness, it was fast. I was on a weekend away with my family and pretty much finished it while I was on the weekend. And we were like bowling, we were doing things, but I still was able to finish it, and I finished it on New Year's Eve. So that was fun to have something finished like right as 2023 was ending, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next Tromso hat is my first finished object for 2024 because it just doesn't take very long to finish. I really liked the hood when I finished it. It was very cozy. I kept wearing it under my coat, but I needed to either have a cardigan attached to it. The reason I didn't finish the cardigan and just kept the hood is because I realized after I finished the hood, and that took 3 100-gram skeins of yarn, that I wouldn't have enough yarn for the whole cardigan. So I really liked the hood. I thought it was great. And I think though I needed like a button to put it together, or even just to put a couple of buttons on it to attach it to my coat or something, it kept falling off every time I would take off my coat. And I'm quite absent-minded when I'm out with all my 4 children and everybody, about like special care that I need to take with my clothes. So I honestly don't do that. I kept finding my hood on the floor or on the seat of the car or something, and it was really frustrating me because I didn't want to lose it. I did like it, so I often just used it on my front porch while my kids were playing if it was really cold outside. And so I thought it would be best to really repurpose this into something else that won't just be on the floor. The next thing I made was a muscle burra. I've made several of these. It's a pattern by Isolde Teague, and I love making them. This was the last, I wanted to call it a vanilla one, but like the pattern is a vanilla pattern. Like that's what people love about it, is it's just stockinette in the round for a long time. So this one was really great. I gave it to my sister Megan because it was made entirely of merino cashmere nylon sock yarn, and I thought it would be soft enough, but it'd also be washable, and she could wear it. She immediately took it on a camping trip that she was taking with her son. She took a selfie and sent it to me. It was fantastic. It looks so good on her. Her eyes just like shine when she has it on. It was such the right choice to give that to her. And I thought, I don't know if this is like, kind of weird. Her birthday's in June, and I think I gave it to her at the end of July or in August or something. So it was pretty hot still, but it was where it was yo-yoing. It was the end of July or the beginning of August where it yo-yos, and it's cold in the morning and cold in the evening. So it was perfect for her camping trip. She said she loved wearing it. She still wears it. I still see her wear it. And that's one of my favorite parts about giving gifts to the people that I love, is like seeing it on them. It's so great. Like to see the things that they actually wear is fantastic. This was a yarn that I had kind of held on to, that I had determined was special for a while. And I'm really glad I knit it up, because I think it showed me that the longer I hold on to something thinking that it's too special, by the time I actually knit it up, I've built it up so much in my head that it's going to be just like the perfect thing, that when it's not the perfect thing, I'm pretty disappointed. And it's not the fault of the yarn, and it's not the fault of the pattern. And it's just that I've been putting it kind of on this pedestal where there's lots of beautiful yarn, and that's why I like to buy it, and that's why I like to knit it, and it's okay for it to be just a hat, and that it serves someone really well. The next muscle burra I made was for my husband. His birthday is also in July, but I still made him a hat, because last year I made him a hat. I can't remember if it was for Christmas or his birthday, but I do remember it must have been for his birthday, because in the fall he wore it a lot, and I just thought, oh, this is so great. And the reason is my husband doesn't want me to knit very many things for him. Hats are good. But now I've knit him 2 hats in 2 different weights, and he wears them a lot, and so I don't know. I know he does not like knitted socks. He doesn't wear gloves. He's one of those people, how do I say this in a kind way? He believes that certain parts of his body are indestructible, and that if they aren't, they need to learn to be. And his hands are one of those parts. So he does not wear gloves ever, unless he's shoveling snow in below 0 weather. It's just really, unless it's like extremely dangerous to not wear protective gloves or mittens on his hands, he just doesn't. They bother him. He doesn't like them at all. So that being said, oh no, guys, look, what's that from? I don't know what that's from. Oh, I love this yellow. Anyway, he wears the yellow on the inside most of the time. It's okay. It's okay. He'll probably wear it on the inside all the time now. But this is a muscle bearer that I made for him. I'm going to flip it because that makes me upset. This is Knitting Nakabi's DK Merino base in the color Strawberry Fields. And this is Golden Rays. And I just love the little blips of different tones that are in it. I just absolutely love that. I also did ribbing in the middle. Nitty Natty did that with a few of hers, and I thought, oh, that's just such a good idea. So I looked up the notes on her Ravelry page for those and just did the same thing. I can't remember how many inches both sides are, but she has that on her Ravelry page, and I believe I have it on mine as well. I'm double checking. I don't, but I will put that in. I will measure that and I will put that in. So when you look at the Ravelry project page's link in the description box of this video, everything should be accurate because I will do that before I publish anything. I actually did have to take almost an entire day and make sure that those were up to date because I did a horrible job of keeping up with them this year. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I love this hat. It's so squishy. It's so yummy. He usually wears the yellow on the inside, even though I asked him, I was like, do you even want the yellow? Because you were saying you want it half and half, but I can't do like the rib half and half because it'll fold, like the inside of this rib shows on this side. So if you just do, so you would always have a brim that's a different color if you do it that way. There's probably a way to work out like doing the inside yellow so that if you have it the other way around, it would be, but that I'd just always be checking the hat. Anyway, he has big, curly, coily, beautiful black hair, and he's growing it out. He's grown it out a few times, and since him being honorably discharged, leaving the army, he has been growing it out again, and it's just he has such beautiful hair. And so whenever he wears one of the hats, I'm like, yes, protect the hair. Protect the hair. And this is a wonderful way to do it. Her yarn is so squishy and lovely and soft. And this is obviously something that I hand wash because it's non-superwash. And oh, it's so good. Guys, it's just so good. It's hard to take it out of my hands because it's so good. So I'm determined to knit one of these for myself this year. I have so many skeins and scraps of Kelsey's yarn that I have to use them. They're so wonderful. Speaking of her yarn, there are a few things that I've used her yarn with this year, and they're just scrumptious. So, pay attention to that because she's fantastic. The only things left, I think, are the cardigans, the socks, and the cowl, and then like the miscellaneous stuff. So we'll deal with the cardigans first. This is the newest one. This is the Chained Oblivion cardigan by Kelsey of Knitting Nakabi. She is fantastic. As you can tell, I'm totally obsessed with her. I will put a video here of it because it's just absolutely beautiful. Look at that cable. Look at it. Have you ever seen anything like that? I never have. I think it's fabulous. I love everything about this knit. I love that it is a lighter knit. I used a sport weight yarn, and I've not had anything lighter than a worsted weight in my wardrobe in 2 years because I just haven't knit anything that weight. Now, I purposefully have not put in my ends because I'm planning on undoing this bind off and knitting these a little longer. I was close to the deadline, and so this is a bottom up sweater. So I did the sleeves bottom up, and I just wasn't, because it's the first bottom up raglan sweater that I've ever done. And I thought, I just don't even know what I like in that category. Her instructions were very clear. she did exactly what she was supposed to do. But you know how you're like, I don't even know how long I want that to be, you know? And so I'm glad I did that, because this body and everything, the body fits beautifully. The underarm is great. The way that fits, the way that this comes out, I think I'm just going to be wearing it in the fall and the spring all the time, and that it'll be a perfect indoor cardigan. Already with these, I've still just like tucked them in and worn this to every fancy schmancy thing that I've had to go to already. And I keep telling myself I need to take it out of my wardrobe so I can make the sleeves longer, like how I want them, but I just keep wearing it. And to me, that is the sign of a really great knit, is that you need to make some alterations to it to make it perfect, but it is so good the way that it is that you just keep wearing it. And so it's hard to alter it. It has this seed stitch all throughout the body and the sleeves. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love this kind of faux seam on the side. Absolutely love that. The fit is so good. And I think part of it is just because of the drape of the yarn. But I've never had a knit that followed the curve of my body in such a wonderful way. I know some people aren't into the word flattering, but I don't mean it makes me look skinnier. I actually mean that it makes me look like I have the chest that I have. Like, I am often like disappointed that my clothes either don't I grew up in an era where everything was like about how skinny you were, about how small you were. And so as a woman of 37 who's had children, I don't care how small I am anymore. I don't care about that, but I do care that I don't want to just look like a rectangle. Like, that's kind of not what I'm looking for. It's okay if that's your goal, your wardrobe goal, but that's not mine. And I just love this. I love the lines for the V-neck. I love it. I'm honestly contemplating making another one in another color, because some of the test knitters did theirs in black, and that looked good. That looked very good. Kelsey did hers in black, and that was really good too. So I've been thinking about doing that. This is just, the length is great, which honestly, like I said, I haven't done a bottom-up raglan before. I did my body longer than the pattern suggests, but of course that's, a very easy modification to make if you want yours to be longer or shorter. So I count things as finished if I'm able to wear them. So this one is finished because I wear it, and you'll see that I did that with the hood, even though it's not a cardigan. I do that with everything. If it's finished enough that I'm actively using it, then it's finished. I bought some buttons while I was in California to use with that cardigan, and I thought, oh, how special would that be? But I didn't consult my pattern before I bought the buttons, and the buttons were way too big. So I have to use those special buttons on something else this year. I haven't had the Chained Oblivion cardigan long enough to give a not so fresh off the needles feeling. I realize that I love Kelsey and I love her patterns, and so I'm truly biased in how I feel about that sweater. I do think that it will continue to be one of my favorites, but I say that to say, in contrast, these two I have been wearing almost constantly. I finished this one at the end of November, so I've had about a month and a half to put that into my wardrobe and wear it. But these I finished at the end of June and July, and so I've been wearing them all fall and all winter. This one is the Mandolin Cardigan by Savory Knitting, who I believe is Amy Christoffers. I love this. I love this. It is a long worsted weight lace, all over lace. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Cardigan that I knit the sleeves a little too long so they cuff up. I love it. So the sleeves can go down to like this knuckle here and even farther if I want them to. It's just the right amount of oversized. I wear it in my house all the time. I absolutely love it. I thought it would be something that I would wear out a lot more because the lacework is just so pretty. I do wear it out, but I also just wear it in the house constantly. It's just the coziest layer. I I have been known to put my robe on in the morning and then put this on top of it, just so that I'm the coziest that I can be. It's fabulous. I believe that's what some people would call a house coat. But it's prettier than just like a house coat, you know? But it also, I really like wearing pretty things just in my house, so that's fine too. I adore it. It is a bottom up drop shoulder construction. And so the body is done bottom up and the sleeves are also done bottom up, just like the Chained Oblivion cardigan, but these were I had to seam the sleeves to the armholes because they were bottom up drop shoulder sleeves. I did the seaming twice because I did more a 3-needle bind off situation, but I had to do them twice because the first time I did them it was too tight. I am trying to sort out what I can do other than just move up a billion sizes on my needles to do that 3-needle bind off to chill out and so it's not as tight, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. If you have a favorite seaming technique, please let me know, because I know that like I could just whip stitch it. Who else is going to see it but me? But I don't want to not catch something in there. And then also mattress stitch, I think I just need practice. And every time I do a project, especially if it's something like this, I'm like, I don't want to practice the mattress stitch on that because I don't want it to be bad. And I don't want to practice it a billion times and it still be wrong. And I know that the 3-needle bind off will be really clean. I just often find that I really have to, it's just going to be tight and I need to do it again sometimes, which I don't love, but I'm glad I did because I know that if I hadn't done it again, it would be too tight on my very voluptuous arms. And so I don't like that. I don't like feeling like I've got like some type of arm cuff on when I have a sweater on. So this is one of the MVPs of 2023 because it's just been, I mean, you can see from like the hair and the pilling that's on this. I did not freshen these up before I brought them out here. There's like, this is, oh no, I think it's Peruvian Highland wool. So it's not the softest thing, but that means that it shouldn't be pilling a ton either. But then if you look, there's just like big old pills on here. Big old pills because I wear it all the time. And that's why also my gray hairs are all over it as well. MVP, definitely. The next one that I wear constantly, this is another MVP that I'm going to share with you, is the Champagne Cardigan by Petite Knit. Oh my goodness, I love this cardigan. It's just such a classic piece that I wanted to have, that I've wanted to knit myself. I love it. I love the color. I love the shaping. I love the yarn. The only thing that I would change is, okay, so this yarn is super duper soft. It is shepherd's wool in the colorway Blue Pine. And it's just so soft that it just pills like a mother hater. It's just, I mean, I love wearing it, and so I wear it all the time. And I've heard from a few knitters that they're waiting for their sweater to stop pilling so they can de-pill it so it will be done pilling. And I have not found that to be the case with this one. I have de-pilled it every season. So I finished it in the summer. I wore it inside a lot. So then in the fall, I de-pilled it again. I de-pilled it again at the beginning of the winter, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles with this business, guys. It's just the way it is. So obviously on the top, there's not a lot of wear because I'm not like rubbing my arms against anything up here. And then on the back, it's not very pilly either. This is another thing. This line is still here. If you watched when I finished this, I did not notice this line until I was like down here on the body. It was absolutely bonkers. And the line is before the sleeve split. I will say if it were after the sleeve split, even though I had several inches on the body, I probably would have gone back and alternated skeins. But because it was before, I just wasn't confident that I would be able to know what increase I was at or anything like that. I also am a little bit frustrated by these holes underneath the armpit. Like, I thought it was so good. I thought I did so good on that. And when you put it like this, it doesn't look as bad. But I might go back and pull that together a little bit. So there's always something that I want to do with my knits. Oh my gosh, look, see? Look at this. Look at this pilly craziness. That's just crazy, man. Someone's going to think I got green armpit hair coming out of my sweater. That's hilarious. That would be weird if someone thought that. Okay, so second MVP. I wear this all the time. I wore it all throughout the fall. I've been wearing it all throughout the winter. The only reason that I haven't worn this one as much as my others is because it's a V-neck. And so in the winter, in the fall, I love that. I love cardigans in the fall. I love the V-neck cardigans, especially in the fall, because you can kind of vent your sweater. You can keep it open and your neck isn't like smothered or anything. But I have noticed that I'm not wearing it as much when it's really, really cold. So, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about if a crew neck cardigan is more the way to go. I have some plans, and I'm going to be making a video about those plans soon. So look for the 2024 knitting plans video as it comes, because I do have some plans about more scrumptious things this winter. The last MVP I wanted to mention for the fall and winter season of 2023 is this Forest Illumina cowl. I absolutely love this piece. I've been wearing it all the time. Some of you know that I had a little bit of judginess going on about shawls and cowls earlier on when I started knitting, because I was basically like, why would you knit those? Why would you have a cowl that you would like be putting up and over your head all the time? That seems annoying. Why would you knit a shawl? Like, just wear a sweater. Why would you knit a shawl? I totally get it now. I totally get it that there are different pieces that serve you at different points in the year, and there are just different pieces that serve everybody's different lifestyle as well. So every time I find something that I absolutely love, I realize I should probably be less judgy and more curious about why people like the things they like. So this is an entirely colorwork cowl. You start with a provisional cast on, and then you do all this colorwork, and then you put it all together. There is one chart that I replaced. There's kind of this fungus chart that looked quite phallic, and so I didn't put that one in mine. I replaced it with some foliage here that I got out of a Stone Knits forget-me-not sock pattern. So just did that, and then I don't know if I don't think I adjusted the stitch count for that. I think I just kind of moved it. Yeah, because it's got this weird kind of blip right here. So I just started over the chart at that point. Oh my gosh. Guys, I just found a dropped stitch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look. Look. There it is. Look at that. That little, what the heck? I've been wearing this. Oh my gosh. I gotta fix that. We'll put a little Jawa stitch marker on there. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that? Can you imagine if this started coming undone? I'd be so upset. I'd be so upset. Okay, this is a mix of sock yarns and non-superwash yarns. I even used some DK yarns in this. This yellow is the same DK that I used for my son's mittens. I love these stars and this moon motif with the trees on either side of it. Oh, so good. These morels, these berries, these foxes. There's some more pine stuff, toadstools, some foliage, some branches with some acorns, these moths. Now there's an option to do a lot of duplicate stitch with those moths, and I decided not to do that, but I do have some ideas if I make another one to use like a color shifting yarn on their wings. I think that would be super cute. And then there's another little foliage acorn situation there. This is probably my favorite part of it. I love it so much, but I love all of it. I think it's so great. I did opt out of putting any of the like festive parts of the pattern on it. So these trees are supposed to have little flecks of color that are supposed to indicate ornaments and like lights and things, and so are these. But I did not put that on there because it wasn't a Christmas knit for me. It was just like a cute woodland knit for me. You can make so many choices with this knit. It's so great. It's almost like a doodle cowl. It's pretty awesome. So I think I will make another one and see if I make some different choices. I would really like to do these moths with a color shifting yarn. I think that would be really beautiful. But the rest of it, I really, really love. I love the choices I made with this. This is a variegated yarn, and so the berries look really cute. I love all of this. I used a Patton's Croix sock yarn, which is more of like a sport weight, which is why I feel like I had the leeway to go fingering or DK depending on the colors I wanted to use. And I did that in the colorway Coal, which is just this black. And then I just used scraps for the rest of what I wanted to do. And oh my goodness, I'm so glad I found that. I'm so glad I was showing you this so that I could find that. I've been wearing this. I finished it on my birthday, which is in the end of April. And that was probably the last day that I would have been able to wear it. I wore it without blocking it. I finished it. I put it on. We went to the park with our kids. And then I got back and I blocked it. And by the time it was done drying, it was too hot to wear it anymore. So I didn't wear it anymore. I put it away for the fall. And when I brought it out for the fall, I was so excited. I just kept wearing it because my hair is short enough now that my neck gets really cold. And even when I have long hair, I still put like scarves and stuff around my hair so that I will stay warm. So I know that I'm still going to use this even when my hair grows, or, even if I don't choose to grow it out. But if I have longer hair, it's still something I'm going to utilize. Okay, now to socks. I knit a bunch of socks this year. I don't have very many of them with me because I gave several as gifts. My mother loves the socks that I knit her. My sister loves the socks that I knit her. My children love the socks that I knit them. Even though we live in the same house together, most of the time I don't know where their socks are because they wear them, and so they're in their laundry, and I kind of sift through their laundry and find those things. But that's okay. I will show you if I have a photo of it or something. And then some of them are very similar, so I'll just deal with those together. Okay, so this pair was my first finished pair of 2023. You can see that I've been wearing them. I haven't even blocked these since the last time I wore them. They're just what they are. This was Patton's Croy yarn in Sidewalk Chalk stripes with some flax colorway as the heels and toes. This is another, I use my own like tread heavy formula for these. If you're interested in it, I have some videos up of how to do it. You can look for that. This is another one. I did the color changes, how Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady did hers. I think she only does, or maybe she did 5 stripes and I only did 4. I can't remember if I did one less or one more than what she does, but I really liked that way to use up some scraps. That was really fun. And then I did another one on a Tweety base that I can't find. It's somewhere in my laundry. They're already in the rotation. From Nomadic Yarns. That has no nylon in it, and it's been wearing really well. I did use the same flax Patton's Croy heel on that one, which does have nylon in it. So I'm really curious, like them next to each other, how that's gonna wear. And then I did this pair of broken rib socks. They are so scrumptious. I like them so much. This is from a Malabrigo sock yarn called Sneezy. You can see though, let me see. I messed up I didn't go check my formula. And so one of them is a bit shorter than the other one. I do just shove my foot into it, but at some point I'm going to go back and knit this toe either longer or something, because the problem is actually here. I didn't knit the foot long enough, and so I need to do that because I just keep stretching them out. I do really like them. They're very soft. They're not as sturdy. They don't feel as sturdy as an Opal or a Patton's Croy or something like that, but they are very squishy and very soft. And I was just jonesing for a broken rib tonal sock, and I got it. I really, really like them. I really like the colors. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just so great. Speaking of ribbed socks, I also made 4 pairs of shorter ribbed socks for my kids for Christmas. So these are rather recent. These are the girls. These are still damp. They just came out of the wash. So they're just going to be laying on this windowsill to dry. This is from some scraps that I had. And this one is also kind of scrappy, but it's some white scraps that I had with a new mohair, which I love. I'm going to need to make myself some socks with mohair on the toes because, oh my goodness, so cozy. And then this is the mini that came with the second week of Advent skeins from Mouse Witch Yarns. Oh my goodness. So perfect. So perfect. Look at how beautiful and bright that pink is. So perfect for her. So those were wonderful. I also knit a couple of pairs for my sons. I have no idea where those are. But they're here and they're exactly the same. The older kids, I did 64 stitches and did the top a 1x1 rib and the bottom as a vanilla, just stockinette. And then the 2 younger ones, I did a 56 stitch circumference. For my socks, I always do a 64 stitch circumference. I am toying with going down a needle size and doing 68, but I haven't finished that sock yet, so I need to figure out what I want to do around that. The other pairs of socks I gave as gifts, I did the Rad Radish socks by Stone Knits. Those I gave to my sister. She was growing radishes in her garden this past year, and so I thought that would be really great. She also wears the pair of Magic Toadstool socks that I gave her the year before all the time, so I thought that would land really well. I also made a pair of socks for my mother out of Tiny Human Knits Carols in the Snow yarn. Oh my goodness. I love her yarn. I love it. I hadn't tried it before that one, and it was really great. I did the Hermione's Everyday texture pattern on that one, even though I did them toe up. And then I did the 24-day socks by Potter and Bloom, and I've just been wearing these, so these are also in quite the state. But I love these socks. They are so cute. I did all these different minis. You can kind of see the gradation that I did there. I really loved it, and I did switch colors every time. And I was talking to my Zoom friends about it, and one of them was like, oh my gosh, you should definitely do like a self-striping or a self-patterning yarn next time. Save yourself the ends. And I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. I think I will do that next time if I do this pattern again. So I really like it though. It's really simple and just really cute. And I wore them for Christmas because the Advent socks that I was working on this year, I still have not finished. So I'll probably wear those next year for Christmas and have a couple of pairs of Christmas socks. That'll be fun. I did a pair of scrappy socks for my son this year. These are absolutely, like, he wears them all the time. He loves them, which is hilarious because I don't. I don't, but he loves them and he wears them all the time, and I'm so glad. His feet are getting bigger, and so I noticed the heels aren't fitting him very well anymore. So what I think I'll do this next year is every time I knit myself a pair of socks, I'll give him a pair of mine that I'm not as into anymore, because his feet are very definitely my size now. And then the last pair of socks that I knit were Yiska's socks, my niece Yiska. She got some socks because an old hand-me-down pair of socks that I gave to her ended up in the dryer, and somehow they must have just been dried to a pulp because they shrunk, and now they belong to her younger brother, and she was just so sad about it. And I said, well, honey, if you want me to knit you a pair of socks, I can do that. And she goes, that would be great. And she's 8. She's the same age as my oldest son. So I knit her a pair of those socks. Hopefully they're doing well. When I tried them on her, they were a great fit, because I think I did a 4x1 rib on the top of the foot and around the leg. And then I made sure to not put any negative ease in the length, just to do 0 ease in the length so that she could grow into those a little bit. I knit 2 pairs of mittens. One was the Tilda mittens that I gave to my sister for Christmas, and she was so happy about them. I was so glad. I knit them with 3 strands of sock yarn. Whatever got me the gauge that I needed, that's how many strands I put together. And that was great because I was able to use a lot of scraps in that project, and I know she can wash them and they'll be good to go. I am really curious as to how they'll wear because they are mostly white. And I didn't think about that when I was making them. I thought they were really pretty. I didn't know who they were for when I started them, but of course, she's a grown woman and she can make determinations about how she wants to use her mittens. The other pair of mittens I made, I lovingly call my accidental mittens. They were what I was going to do was make a pair of socks like these, and as I started out, I realized this will absolutely not get me to what I was hoping for. So I had already made the cuffs. I realized where I was at with the yarn, and I just did a wedge toe and then cut in some afterthought thumbs. And they're wonderful. They were perfect. And then later I put an I-cord. I attached an I-cord to one, picked up stitches on one mitten and did an I-cord, and then did a bind off with the stitches on the other mitten. And they were perfect. And I gave them to my nephew for his birthday. Last thing before we get into kind of the miscellaneous category is I made a shawl. I did the mystery knit along with Lyrical Knits for the Princess Bride As You Wish mystery knit along. It was so fun. She was all in with this pattern. If you have it and you haven't done it yet, you should just read it. Like, even just go in and read it because it's so cute. She pulls in all these references from the movie. When I was in high school, junior high and high school, everybody in my little microculture could quote that movie. Like, it's just this little cult classic, and I love it. I still love that movie. I think it's absolutely great. I could go down rabbit holes about the actors and how much I love just their stuff. When I finished it, it was I think I finished it maybe on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Oh no, I finished it on New Year's Day because it counted as a 2023 knit. I finished it on New Year's Day, and then I blocked it, and then I gave it to my younger sister. She is this is a different sister. I have a lot of sisters. Sorry, my sister Emily, who is crafty as frick on Instagram. She is a historical interpreter at Cranberry, which is a living historical museum here in Indiana, and she can only wear certain things at work, but I thought this one would be just a fun one that she could wear personally. She can't wear it at work. It's made out of like a bunch of sock yarn and colors that would not have been possible, I don't think, to dye then, and it's just techniques that you can't like prove existed then. So it's not a historically accurate shawl in any way, but she really liked it, and she's even tagged me a couple times when she's worn it online, and that's been really fun. Okay, one of the strangest ones that I knit this year was a Chemex cozy. That was a bulky weight, maybe super bulky weight knit, and there was a free pattern for it, and it's what my brother-in-law had asked for when I asked him if he wanted me to knit him anything for his birthday, and that was really fun. It was really strange to think about, like, okay, how does this need to fit over this Chemex? And like, I've seen the Chemex before, but I wanted to make sure that the dimensions were correct and everything, and it worked out perfectly. It was really great. And I don't think I'll ever knit one again. I don't think there will be a necessity for me to knit it again, but it was really fun. And he started using it immediately. So that was really neat. The other things that I knit and crocheted this year that are, I would say, kind of miscellaneous things for different reasons. This is, some of you may recognize this. This is the beginnings of what was originally, not officially, but originally, the West Knits 2023 Mystery Knit Along. Now, I painstakingly knit and re-knit this motif to make sure that I liked the colors and the way it was coming out, and I just really, it took me all day to do this and be satisfied with it. And then, of course, things changed, and this pattern is no longer available, or this part of the pattern is no longer available. And so after all of that going the way it did, I'm really glad I bought the pattern. I'm really glad that I have access to it for later. But I was really looking forward to just knitting something without having to, knitting something beautiful and complex without having to think of anything myself. And that's not what this ended up being. It ended up being that it was that you could come up with the square in the middle yourself, or you could just kind of knit this square, which wasn't, I think the original, the complexity of the original pattern is more in line with what I associate West knit-alongs to have with them. And so I was just frustrated by that, and I had tried to clear my needles unsuccessfully before October came around, and so I was also frustrated that I didn't seem to have time to, or the bandwidth to, deal with what I wanted to do with it. So I just bound it off. I just bound it off, and I use it on my counter as like just kind of a little huge coaster, I guess. I put bowls of soup on it. I put cups on it. I even put like knitting tools on it so that I know that they're there. It's almost like a tray of sorts when I use it, because it has different colors on it, and so I can very easily see where I put the thing. I have horrible eyesight, and so I can very easily see where I placed that tool. Because if I put it on something white or something black, I will very easily lose whatever I just put down. Another coaster-esque thing that I made this year is a hexagon from a crochet blanket pattern. I am planning on making the rest of the blanket. I cannot remember the name of the blanket, so I will put that on the screen. But I put 2 strands of sock yarn together. I think it's so pretty. I really like the way that all the colors play together in that. So I'd really like to be able to crochet the blanket this year. I think that would be really fun. There is a kind of a join as you go thing that comes with it. So I would really like to figure that out and join these as I go. I was thinking first of just making all the hexies and not worrying about it and just doing it all at the end. But I think because you join it just with the last round as you go, I think that would be just fine for me to do. At this point, I have to watch the tutorial the whole time through anyway, because I'm a baby crocheter and I may never turn into an adult crocheter in skill level. I don't know. I don't know. But I followed Knitty Natty's alterations for the pattern for this so that it's a little bit bigger, and I think I will continue to do that. I will probably still keep using this as a coaster until I commit to doing more things. And the last project that I can show you here is this crocheted lap blanket. It is a huge granny square. And the last time, if you follow the podcast, the last time you saw it probably had this on it. And I called it a lap blanket back then, and it's an even better lap blanket now. The funny thing here is that my funny, interesting, poetic thing here is that I remembered recently, and I've remembered, like, I know about this, right? I have this memory of this huge crocheted granny square blanket that my great grandmother made, and my dad told me that she made it out of all her scrap yarns. And I thought that meant that she had like this huge tub of scrap yarn that she just like was crocheting this blanket together for and eventually gifted it to someone. But I'm wondering now that I'm doing this, which is the same thing essentially, is if she just like kept adding stuff to it when she had it, because it is huge. It is huge. I would say it's a king size granny square blanket, and it's just one big old granny square. Like, she just kept going around, and she was really cool with crochet. She invented her own crochet stitch. Like, that doesn't really usually happen. At least not in the knitting world. I feel like there's not a lot of people inventing stitches at this point in history. I haven't blocked it since I finished the green stripe, but I was really surprised. Green stripe. I was really surprised at how much 4 rounds of this green yarn added to the size of this blanket. Now, these 4 rounds took almost 100 grams of yarn. We are now getting to the point where, like, I don't necessarily have to be using scraps. So I've been thinking about that. I got this green from the fabric store that's close to me. They have some yarn choices, and it's just this little alcove. I really like that place. It's really cute, but the selection isn't huge. And so I got this green because it's a wool acrylic blend, and so I wanted to test that out for a sweater that I will eventually knit for my father. I'm still doing that, guys. I did cast on for the back of it, but it's just kind of at a standstill because I have to commit to stitch textures at this point. So I ended up going with a different color though. I went with the same base and everything, and so I'm really glad that I got it and that I washed it and I dried it and I tried it and it was great. And but this, I didn't want to go with this green anymore. I got a darker one with some yellow variation in it that I really, really like. And so we're going to be going forward with that. Just kidding. That is not the last thing. I have one more thing. I told you I have 3 crochet projects, right? So the first one was the start of this little coaster, the start of the blanket. Second one is this one. And the third one is this one. This is just, I absolutely love it. I have not put ends in on the ends because it's a garland that I put on my tree, and I just put the ends in the back. So part of the reason I left it that way is because I have not committed to the length of this garland. I have this much left from doing all of this, and this fit all over. Like, I was able to kind of zigzag it so that it looked like it was around the tree, all the way down the tree, and that was really lovely. I love the look and the colors of the popcorn and cranberry garlands that people put on their trees. I just really don't like having to redo it every year. So this faux popcorn and cranberry garland was fantastic. I did it from a tutorial I saw on Instagram, so I'll make sure to put the link in the description box below. It was really fun. It's just a chain stitch and a puff stitch. So if you already know how to do that, you probably don't even need the tutorial. But it's just this puff stitch, and then you chain one, and then you take kind of a smaller crochet hook that'll fit through the hole in the bead, and then you pull the bead through, and then you do a chain so that it's secure, and then you do puff stitches until you want to do it again. So the tutorial did it every other. It would do like a puff stitch and a bead and a puff stitch and a bead, but I only had one bag of beads and I had a ton of yarn. In fact, I gifted 2 of these because I didn't need 3 of them. It came in a pack of 3, and then when I realized how little it used, I thought it was going to use a lot more yarn, to be honest. And then I gifted those 2 things away, and so I love this. I want to use the rest of this though. I'm not sure if I should just knit up a hat with it or if I should do more of these, because since I had more yarn, I bought more beads. And now that I have the beads, I feel like I need to do this, but that's okay. I'm contemplating putting those crafty things just back in my Christmas decorations and allow myself to be inspired next year if I want to do another one of these or connect it to be longer, or if I want to do something else. Thank you for watching. I'm very excited to finish up the rest of my whips from 2023. I did not start this year with empty needles. Oh my goodness. I probably have close to 20 works in progress still on my needles. A couple of those are blankets. Several of them are socks, which the Zoom ladies say none of those count. So, at some point I am going to have to decide that they count those so that I can finish them. One of them is another crochet project that I started this year, the Grannies in a Row socks, and I'd really just like to get those off my needles because I was really excited about them when I started them, and now I'm not as excited about them. So I have a lot coming up this year that I'm excited about, and so I can't wait to see what we make together in 2024. Bye.